Hey everybody, it's me, it's God's Comic Brad Stine, and it is the Brad Stine Show, live from the antiquated hut known as my storage space, this or my studio, depending on if you like to lie to people. Actually, what is a studio, right? It's whatever you happen to do, whatever you happen to do. So I'm here, I'm live, and I'm excited to be part of your Monday 7 o'clock. Anybody here to say hi before we get going? There's Nick Kress. Hey Nick. Good to have you with us. He's right there. Hey, Brad, that would be Jim Brana. He's there too, and people are just beginning to join on, jump on, and I see little by little it just growing like a virus. Oh, let's not make virus jokes, shall we? No, because the virus that we've had in the last year and a half has been a big fat joke, and it's not been an easy, fun ride, has it? But we're still fighting through. We're still plowing through. Lots of crazy things have happened in the last uh, year and last month and last day. It never ends in America, does it? So, just glad to be back with you guys. I love coming in on Mondays. And as you can see, if you have checked in, one thing interesting about tonight's broadcast, I am not in a jacket. I'm not wearing a parka. I'm not wearing what do you call a scarf. I don't have on my communist Russian Alaska bought hat or my big fat furry whatever they call it hat, burqa for your head, fat hat not burqa. What's the name of those big fat? Anyways, don't have that. And here's why. It's mid March in Nashville, Tennessee. So here's the double edged sword. As you guys know, if you are faithful watchers, and I'm sure there's some faithful watchers out there, I know there are, because you guys show up every Monday because apparently you're incapacitated. You know, you have something wrong with your bipedal movement, and so you're stuck at home, and so you just turn in and watch me, and you figure, hey, if you watch enough of these episodes, then the least that can happen is God to give you some grace when you get to heaven, because you're sitting through me. But have you noticed I'm not super dressed? I'm not super hot. I'm not super headgear. I'm not super scarfed. Why? Because, as I said, it's mid-March, Nashville, and guess what's trying to sneak in? Spring. Spring is trying to sprung. We all are still recovering from the let's move forward nonsense. I mean, what? Who came up with the? And I'm sure I don't. I hate to even ask questions to you people because sometimes I ask questions rhetorically. Sometimes I ask questions because I'm going to get to a punchline. Sometimes I ask questions because I don't know the answer and people will jump in. But sometimes I just sort of ask these crazy questions that don't really mean anywhere. I'm just trying to take it someplace. And then I get 10 people telling me the depth of their insight and their wisdom and their education by saying, "Oh no, the reason daylight savings came was because in 1943, when we were concerned about Japanese invading our shores, we decided we needed to turn the lights off quickly, and they would have nowhere to find us because all of our lamps would be out," or something like that. And I'm sure somewhere, somehow, some bureaucrat in America decided arbitrarily moving up an hour in the spring your time for no reason other than to make it less enjoyable to sleep in because you just lost an hour makes sense because bureaucracy and red tape always makes sense to people who don't make sense because they live in this crazy world where anything they create makes sense to them, so it must be okay for everybody. And then they go off in their little rooms and see what kind of disaster they've created. But that's United States government, still at work, still doing it to this day, never ever failing at screwing something up that should have been simple. But the reason that I'm talking about the daylight savings and the midst of trying to start spring is it's not freezing right now here in the attic Sans soon to be fully equipped studio. Now, why did I say that's a double edged sword? Shouldn't you be happy? Because, as you know, I've been complaining about how freezing it was before. And that was, again, remember, wasn't because I'm a whiner, wasn't because I'm a baby, wasn't because I'm a little, I don't know, crybaby or someone who is unable to endure some pain. It's not because of that. It's because I was looking for sympathy so you could help me build my studio. And I'm just being honest. Looking for sympathy. It was a manipulation. It was a con. No, it wasn't a con. We really are doing some amazing things, and you guys have been a big part of it. But the reason I think it's important to realize that I'm not in my freeze gear is because it's kind of pleasant. It's not cold, it's not hot, but that's what I was getting at. If we've reached a place in Nashville where I don't need the freeze gear, that means that guess what's coming? Summer. And when summer hits, I you thought I was miserable with the scarf? At least the scarf kind of looked good, and it's something I could layer. I could put it on, take it off. But once it hits hot summer in Nashville, you're only going to see me naked from the waist up, and that will be so horrific to anybody watching that I will lose everything I've gained on this podcast. And I don't blame you, because trust me when I say, even when I get out of the shower, I can't look at myself in the mirror, because nothing, and I mean nothing, is more hideous than a naked man. We are absolutely horrific. There's nothing good, nothing satisfying. It's just simple, oh my gosh, please avert your eyes and please take that somewhere else. But it's going to get hot, and when it does, hopefully by that time I'll have some air in here, and I can bring it down to a moderate temperature, and the studio will be off and running. Hey, David, where did he go? David, where'd you go? Benoit was there. There's Fred Walls. Hey, Fred, just sent you thank you for your donation. I did send you your poster today, so I don't know, you'll get it soon. Kit Kat Sparrow's here. Hey, Brad, guess what? My birthday is tomorrow. My goodness, Kit Kat. Kit Kat Sparrow's having a birthday tomorrow. Everybody say, happy birthday, Kit Kat. And for those who want to wish her a happy birthday, feel free to use my thread to do so. Joshua Boatwright. Brad, thanks for making my Monday better. And Joshua, thank you for making my boat right. Who else is here? Olivia VM, I like you very much. Who doesn't? Who doesn't like me very much? Very much. Isn't that just, don't you love that? Very much. Super much. Super very, a lot much. It's just, let's add it on. We should just have one word that just means that's the end. And notice what word I don't use. Awesome. Can't stand the word. It used to be a beautiful word because it always represented God. He's awesome! And it brought you into a sense of awe. Now it's used so often to look, we had an awesome cupcake party, that it's been abused and ruined. Let's see. Vanita Simmons Schoenberger. Vanita, any shot you could make your name longer? She's reading my book. That's good. Good to have you. Daniel Woodhood said hi. This is great. Kristen Hamilton, this is the high point of my Monday. Kristen, get a new life. If I'm the high point of your Monday, something has gone desperately wrong. But God bless you. I want to tell you guys what I've been doing over the weekend. Now, this past week, I was on an adventure. Bradley was off doing his little comedy thing, his little comedy routines, and I started last Wednesday in Greenville, South Carolina. That's where I was. And guess what? Somebody showed up. Somebody was there. It was a she. And she sat close, and I could see her. And I noticed her face, and I called her out because I don't know her, never met her, but I saw her on these threads every Monday with her little face profile, and I recognized her. And I called her Karen, not Karen. She made it very clear to all of us that it's either Karen or she's out, because she's a blue blood. And if you don't spell it just right, pronounce it just properly, she's angry. Karen was there, and I'm glad to have her. And, you know, lots of people have been there. And here's what I want to do. Instead of calling you all out, I want somebody who was there the next night in Greensboro to say hi to me right here so I can say hi to you. She is an amazing young woman who actually runs a horse jumping barn, but I'm going to let her introduce herself this time just to show you how I want to let people have their own experiences. Hey, there's Karen right there. Hi, Brad. Hi, all. Hi, Karen. Good to have you. She's right. Oh, you're not going to believe this. As I was trying to look up and scroll up this thing, somehow I made it bigger. I stretched it out so I can see better. You know what that means? I can do it without these and not look as old as I actually am. Okay, so let's get back to work. I was in South and North Carolina, at the Comedy Zone comedy clubs. Now, see, people say, why would you go to a comedy club? You've been doing churches for so many years now. You started in comedy clubs. You've done comedy clubs from London, England to whatever, Florida, Jacksonville to Los Angeles at the Improvs, all the way up to Seattle when that was an actual visitable city. In Portland, Oregon, I used to be at many times. Wouldn't go now. Wouldn't go now, ever. I'm waiting for them to destroy themselves so I can go work in the rubble that used to be known as Portland. But I was there because I felt like, and I've told you guys this, and again, if there's somebody here watching for the first time, by the way, and you happen to watch because you've seen my clips and you say, hey, this guy's funny, I'd love to watch and see what he's got to say. If you're watching me for the first time, you've seen my clips and you say, this guy sucks, and I'm going to get on there and just try to troll him. Well, you're welcome here too, because I believe in free speech as opposed to some social media platforms. So I'm glad you're here. Anyways, but the reason that I began to explore going back into the clubs is because we have a new America. And the new America is dangerously, precipitously sitting on a melting iceberg of freedom. We are watching our rights and our freedoms be stripped away in the name of tolerance, in the name of trying to only keep on positive speech that doesn't hate people. Again, remember, somebody gets to decide something's hateful, and then they remove it to problems with that issue. Problem number one, your definition of hate may not be mine. So why do you get to make the call? You are the one that ultimately makes the final decision. Thus, you are setting yourself higher than me in access to my First Amendment rights. So what gives you the right to do that? Now, you might say, well, it's because they own the platform. It's a private enterprise, and don't they have the right to say no shirt, no shoes, no service? And I think that people do have that right in America to decide how they want to distribute their platform in whatever means that might come. I believe that as a private owner, you can say, you know what, I want this to be a men-only club. I believe that. Now, what will happen is, and I've said this before, the market will always take care of itself. This is what freedom really has to be. And that is, let the market take care of itself. But when I say that, it used to be natural. It used to be organic. What do I mean by that? If you had a store and you said, I don't serve Jews, and there were stores back in, back at I don't know when, 30s, 20s, maybe 50s, yeah, even the 50s, that wouldn't let Jews come into their home. People would do that. Well, as time went on, people would look at that and say, gee, I don't like somebody that would treat a group of people that way, that they've separated them and what they use in the nomenclature of today, other them. Since you are other than me, I can decide you are less than me, and thus I can exclude you. So people used to exclude Jews. They used to exclude blacks from sitting in their dining area. But here's the thing. Over time, people can object to that, your freedom, and they don't shut you down. They don't burn you down. They don't hunt you down. They simply don't participate. I'm not going to that place because I don't like what they stand for. That's your freedom. Organically, the person can then decide, is this the way I want to continue to run my business? Because it's costing me something. Now, you might think, well, gee, should someone stick to their principles? And just say, I don't care if it costs me something. I believe in this. I'm not moving until the business disappears. And I would say, yeah, I guess stick to your principles. But sometimes you can learn from what people are telling you. Now, this is far different than what's happening in America with mob rule, with a particular group. Texting and social media allows this to happen so easily. Texting, sending out notices, this person's hateful, evil, always using slanderous, malicious terminology, never proved, never defined, doesn't have to be. You just use woke speak, say they're hateful, they're evil, everybody jumps on board, they don't want to do the hard work of looking at it, or they're so cowardly and so totalitarian because they're leftists, they enjoy crippling, destroying, labeling, othering other people, hoping they're destroyed, hoping they're removed from the platform of ideas so they don't have to endure dissent. So Who's the weakest, most uncourageous, most cowardly, most spineless group in America today? The left. And yet, they control some of the biggest dissemination of information in the world. Google, leftist. Facebook, leftist ideas. And by the way, I'm on Facebook. And so far, they've let me stay. So, I'm giving them their kudos. As long as they're letting me on, even though I'm sure they don't buy my ideology, I'm free speech guy. Hey, you've dumped some of my other friends of mine. You haven't dumped me, so I'm still here until you dump me. Maybe you never will. Maybe you'll decide to be a free speech platform. I don't know. Time will tell. But we know that Twitter certainly bans people it doesn't like, because that's what propagandists do. I control the dissemination of information. I've decided to pull the plug, and I get to make that sort of ultimate call as to your ability to communicate. Now, do I think, and I think you need to decide this as Americans, is there a difference between me owning a little bakery or a little fudge shop or a shoe shop, and I kind of say, I don't cater to this thing or that thing, and people decide either to participate or not? That's free enterprise, that's organic. Is that different than owning a worldwide platform that has become the sort of default ability for people to communicate to such a degree that now you're not just making a decision to not participate in this person coming into your platform, but in fact are destroying their ability to move forward in their life, to be able to make money, to be able to have freedom and the expectation of innocence until proven guilty. See, it's a different category, and because of that, that has to be taken into account. I don't know how it's going to be done. I don't know if it will be done. I don't know if we're going to lose that war, and the only chance for conservatives and Christians to be able to communicate on a wide scale and to be able to come together, that we need to be able to do, is if we create our own platforms. And even when that was tried with Parler, whoever owned the Ultimate Engine, and I probably used the wrong term because I'm a techno idiot, but they pulled the plug for them to even be able to have a place to host their material, and then you get like Apples and so forth that don't even hold the app, so you can't even grab it and go do it. So there's a serious problem, and something's got to give. Now, that being said, how did I end up on that when I started with North and South Carolina at the Comedy Zones? But what I was trying to tell you is this. I believe in free speech, and so I want to go into the comedy clubs, which are more secular. Clearly, it's not a church, and I want to be able to say, do you believe in liberty? Yes, we do. Prove it. Come on out and see a guy who's a Christian, conservative, unapologetic, loves America as it was originally intended by the founding fathers, and let's see if we will not only participate and support each other, but let's see if perhaps this guy isn't hateful at all. He happens to have a different point of view, or, and I always make this very clear when I do my comedy, and if you're a fan, by the way, if you're a fan of my comedy, go back, look at some of the comedy clips that you see in me. And it's funny to me because some of the clips, you got to understand that a lot of the clips that you see, if you ever see me in a clip with a black, I think it's a maroon kind of like sweater looking thing, and a black coat, black pants, there's a kind of a wall behind me, some helmets hanging out or whatever. That's from Put a Helmet On. It's my first major album that launched me and announced the Put a Helmet On slogan that I coined. If you see that, you're going to see one of my most popular rants, which was about America and how difficult it was here to get here and so forth, and how we went from the most breaking away from the most powerful country, the 19th century, to becoming the most powerful country of the 20th, with one idea in mind: if you're not going to whine, not going to complain, not look for the government for handouts, willing to work hard enough, no matter what comes your way, you can become anything you want to be. To a group of people that now need signs warning them that coffee is hot. Okay, that's kind of the end slogan of this big routine, and anybody that knows my show has seen that one a million times. That's where I got the idea of Put a Helmet On. If you don't know coffee is hot, put a helmet on and slam it down tight, because we need to know who you are and where you're coming from. But the reason that I'm bringing that up is because some of the material I talked to, which was anti-PC, and if you are new to here, I've tried to explain to you, political correctness is cultural Marxism coming from the Frankfurt School. It's designed to stifle speech. It's designed to be able to put people into categories. It's designed to be able to give people particular extra credit for being in particular categories that they assign. They decide who's the bourgeois. They assign who's the proletariat. It's a new way of seeing Marxism, and they destroy those who happen they think to be empowered, thus meaning they are oppressing others. They're not. They're not. They might have some. They may not. But it is their ability to steal power back by destroying people without proof of what they're claiming them to be. But then they usurp the power as though they're altruistic, but they don't pass it out. They keep it to themselves. They prove the falsehood of the whole Marxist concept. Whoever's in power will be a small elite. The rest of you will be good drones, live like socialists, share the wealth. We will keep it because we need to be paid more than you, because we are the ones that disseminate the information, teach you what you need to know. You're not as smart as us. And let's face it, we're in power. We're going to take whatever we can get because that's the human condition. That's why the Founding Fathers said the Judeo-Christian ethic must be the foundation of the United States of America, because it teaches you to help the poor. It teaches you to be non-selfish with what you have. And if you have a lot, to whom much is given, much will be expected. So that's why we are, and still are known as Christians, as the most giving people. It's just documented in America, still the most giving nation on earth. From what? Atheism? No. From what? Where did we get this concept? Is it innate in us that everybody gives? Not at all. Not at all. Darwinism teaches you to take, destroy, get whatever you can, so you get to get whatever you need, because it's all about survival. Well, wait a minute. What about the social contract? That's all they have. There's a social contract that we made years ago as humans when we barely could hold up our heads. And we decided that if you don't kill me, I won't kill you, and somehow we'll survive. But you don't survive. You always die eventually. Nobody lives to be 1,000 if we just don't kill each other. So the survival idea doesn't actually work at all. It's never worked. Nobody's ever, we've exceeded leaps and bounds the life expectancy of human beings, right? Which is around 76 maybe for a guy, or 78 for a woman now. But that's not very long in the history of the world, of the universe. So even in the survival thing, and even in the social compact, and even this idea that you don't kill me and I won't kill you, even though nobody stopped killing each other, we don't survive. We die. So the whole idea is a charade to give themselves a reason to justify why they should try to treat people nice without giving credit to the Judeo-Christian God that gave us the concept that human beings are made in the image of God, we're intrinsically valuable, and thus everybody needs to be treated fairly. Concept did not come from Greece. Concept did not come from Rome. Concept did not come from the Enlightenment. It came from Jesus Christ and the Christianity. That's what I teach, guys. That's what I talk about, as well as my conservative values, as well as my original. I'm an originalist. I believe in the Constitution as the Founding Fathers believe. That's what my comedy is all about. When I go into the comedy clubs in North Carolina and South Carolina, I want you to be able to say, I believe in liberty, I believe in free speech, I believe in comedy being free to use sarcasm, satire, making fun of differences so we can be free again. Because if the comedians, who are the last vestige of being able to push the envelope, not to hurt people, not to harm people, not to demean people, but in fact to find fun in the difference, so that we can see that in the end we do have differences, ethnicities do have differences, historical people who have come from different parts of the world have historical references that are different. We have differences of opinion based on what area of the United States we grew up in. If we grew up in Appalachia, if we grew up in Los Angeles, if we grew up in Manhattan, if we grew up in Indiana like I did and born in Bremen, Indiana, we're going to have differences of opinions. We're going to have different foundations as to who we are. That's the way it's supposed to be. And so we need someone that can poke fun of these things. Because here's the key. Here's what's being missed when we see how comedy is so powerful and so important in the milieu of the culture. Comedy can make fun of people, right? Because number one, the wokeism, the leftism, the idiotocracy that has created this overoffensiveness believes that if you make fun of somebody, you're demeaning them. That's the problem. That's the mistake. Making fun isn't demeaning. It can be, but not in the comedy context. Making fun is really saying, give me permission to take liberties with your idiosyncrasies. You have permission to take liberties with my idiosyncrasies. I'm short, I'm white, I'm heterosexual, I'm male, I'm gorgeous. I wasn't kidding. And so you can make fun. And probably the easiest thing to make fun of is, for me right now, based on cultural categories, is I'm short, I guess. I'm a boomer, right? So you can make fun of these things. I get to make fun of you. So in the end, what we are teaching ourselves is, A, don't take life so seriously. Don't take little things so seriously. There's plenty of serious to actually go around. Okay, there's really cancer out there. That's serious. There's really children in cancer wards. That's serious. There's really people that drove to work today and got hit in a car and are dead. That's serious. There's people that have contracted this virus and died. That's serious. Most haven't. Most haven't. Most won't. But I'm not ignoring that some have died, and I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for the people that lost them. I feel sorry for people who got this virus and ended up in the hospital and almost didn't make it. I'm sorry for that, man. But I also feel sorry for the guy that's in the hospital with cancer. I'm also sorry for the guy that's in there with kidney failure or anything. People die. This is the human condition. I feel sorry for it. I want to help people, and if we have a way to keep it from happening, yeah, of course, do that. But we have to be realistic about the human experience. The moment you're conceived, literally, the moment you're conceived, at a wonderful, wonderful moment for your mom and dad, you're starting to die. Sure, from the moment you're conceived, every bit of DNA that's going to make you into a fully grown human being over time, if you're given permission to survive, it's all there from the get-go, from that split second, that miraculous flash of brilliance when another human being has been created, a new soul has been formed. I don't know how that works. I don't know where it comes from. I'm not going to get in that theological element because I don't know the answer, so I'm not going to pretend that I do. But that moment, you're born, you exist, you're going to come into fruition, you're going to come through the birth canal, you're going to be a human a baby as opposed to a small human, tiny human, and then you're going to be eventually a big human, eventually an old human, and eventually a dead human. But you're important. You matter. And so we, as comics, want to look at that individual and say, give me permission to joke with you, to show you that it's okay. There's important things out there. This isn't the thing to get hung up on. This isn't where to plant the flag. This isn't the place to draw a line in the sand. This is the place to be a man, be a woman, be strong, be mature, be able to do one of the, I think, the single greatest indicator as to if you are a mature human being or an immature human being. You know what I think that is? Are you able to laugh at yourself? If you can't, that's immaturity. Okay? Now keep in mind, please remember, nobody that's new gets all confused. I'm going to walk you through this. If you're an old hand watching my show, these people they are filled with strength. They have got calluses all over their body. They got scars. They've listened to me for a while. So they're good. But for those of you newcomers who for the first time are hearing things you haven't heard before, I am not giving you revelation. Here's the sad thing, but the truth. I'm not giving you revelation right now. Okay? I'm not giving you some kind of miraculous new way to see the world. I'm reminding you of what it used to be like before leftism destroyed everything. We used to be able to laugh at ourselves. That was considered a mature, adult-like character trait. I can laugh at myself. And I can laugh at you. And you are given permission to laugh at me from me. You give me permission to laugh at you from you. And together we share the human experience. We share the fact that we're all flawed. We share the fact that we're all trying to go to the same direction. We're all having the best we can. We share the fact that some of us had a more difficult journey than others. We share the fact that we can go along this journey together, and we can lift each other up by not taking serious the things that seriously aren't that serious. That's what comedy is for. So when I go out to the Comedy Zone, I want to say to you guys, did she answer yet? Oh, crud. Where is my girl? I'm not going to give your name. I'm going to let you come out. That does the horse jumping. Where'd she go? Is she here? Anybody find her? Because I'm way behind on catching up with my thread. Oh, man. Hey, Brad, where can I acquire a few T-shirts? Oh, well, you can. Hi, Karin. Karin's the one that came to Greenville, South Carolina. Well, you can have this one. Now, Bruce Twig bought this shirt, and notice, I'm wearing it up backwards. Notice it's already signed. This is a game-worn shirt. This is the second time I've worn it. Because when Bruce Twig, who I just saw, because after I was Wednesday and Thursday in North and South Carolina, I flew to Louisiana. And I performed at a church for a men's event for Friday night, Saturday morning, and then Saturday night for the entire church in Houma, Louisiana. So Bruce Twig, which a great brother I met there, he bought this as a donation for my ministry to build the studio and everything else that I'm trying to do. And I signed it, and then when I went to send it to him, he said, hey, go ahead and bring it here, and we'll just give it away to some guy. And I had it set up, and I forgot to bring my luggage, and I said, hey, man, let me send this to you. I'm so sorry. And he said, you know what, go ahead and rebid on it. Go ahead and I'll donate that. Go ahead and stick it back out there. So if you would like to bid on a game-worn Brad Stine shirt that is put a helmet on, this is what you would call a... what do you call it? Vintage shirt. I don't make these anymore. This is from Put a Helmet On, the first album I ever did. And that's me and my face and my different haircut. I'm much younger, 18 years younger. Anyways, if you want to bid on this, it's the first time I've ever worn a shirt twice. It's already signed, so you even get to see it. And when you reference this thing, if you're this interested, if you reference this thing, which will stay on my Facebook, and you see me wearing this, I'll send it to you and you can wear it because it'll be yours, but you got to donate. And the donations start at $50. Tired of you guys lowballing me. It's ridiculous. You're supposed to be my fans. Starts at $50. And then whoever donates the most by the end of the podcast, I will send this gift to you, this Brad Stine signed shirt. Now, I did tell you I was in North and South Dakota, North and South Carolina, and I want to go. Johnny Broward, I watch you on Facebook, learned about you through Facebook watch videos. Great, John. Thanks for being here. Nelson Schroeder. Comedy is simply social commentary that exposes the hypocrisy in our culture, forces us to laugh at our own shortcomings. Yes, it's supposed to force you to laugh at your own shortcomings, Nelson, but people don't anymore. They've decided we don't have to do this anymore. Matter of fact, we don't have any shortcomings. Matter of fact, if you bring up my shortcomings, I'm going to destroy you. That's what leftism is. Why? It's Marxism. Why is Marxism that way? Marxism has a foundation in atheism. Atheism gives you permission to hate people, to attack people. You have no higher authority that you answer to. Now notice, I don't like to be yelled at. I don't like to be insulted. I don't like to be hated. I don't like it. My natural manner is I want to fight you, okay? I studied karate. I'm a black belt in karate. I studied that because I wanted to be able to fight. I trained with Eric Melton in full contact sparring. He was a former welterweight world champion kickboxer. Yes, I didn't do well against him, and yes, he could have killed me, knocked me out at any time he wanted, but I trained in hand-to-hand combat. I am a gun carrier. I am a concealed carry permit carrier, a lifetime from Tennessee, and carry a gun. So I'm prepared at all times to defend myself. I don't go after shooting people. I'm not out to kill people I don't like. I will defend myself or my family or anybody else that is in need if I can. Okay, so I am a fighter. When you attack me, and it's usually from atheists. There's this sort of new style of atheism that was, I think, inspired by Richard Dawkins to go attack Christians, and specifically Christians. Once in a while, you'll get a guy like the late Christopher Hitchens, who would attack Islam, but most of them won't attack Islam because they know that they might have to pay a price for that. Christians aren't allowed to go kill people that hate them. We're not allowed. So consequently, we're an easy target. They're the bullies, and we're the ones that have to defend ourselves. They will never believe that. They'll never acknowledge that. What they'll say is, you're the bullies because historically Christians did all these terrible things. Well, Christians didn't do all these terrible things. Some people who are Christ followers certainly have done terrible things, of course. That's proof that Christianity is true, because it tells the world that people are flawed, including sinners who happen to be Christians. That's what Christianity is for. All of you are flawed. All of you have failed. All of you have succumbed to sin. All of you are dying. All of you are going to hell. Jesus Christ has paid the price for you. If you accept him and then bear fruit for the rest of your life to prove that you've committed your life to him, sacrificed your life to him, you can actually spend eternity with him. Okay, so ironically, when an atheist says, "Oh, all you hypocrites, oh, you do terrible things," it's kind of like, yes, so do you. The difference is we admit it, we know we're sinners, so we know we need a savior. You think you can get there on your own because you're so righteous by attacking somebody else, and you're not. You look like the bully you are. You look hate-filled. You're filled with anger and arrogance. I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm trying to learn to talk to these people with kindness and love. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to. Some of these guys I would love to meet personally. I really do. I've fantasized. Hey, I'll tell you what. I see you hate me. You're insulting me. You're putting all your laugh emojis. You think you're a tough guy. You're doing it from the internet. I see you're in St. Louis. I'll meet you at a gym there. You and Mike can go toe to toe, and whoever walks out wins. I've wanted to do that, and I'll film it. But I'm not allowed. Why? Because I don't feel it? I do. Because I don't have the right to? I don't know. Maybe I do have the right to, I guess, to say, let's go meet in the gym. But my faith in Christ tells me you got to humble yourself and go love on these people, because anger, and it's always super anger, it's rage from these atheists on the internet. You know why? Because anger, and I've told you this before, anger is pain internalized. It's how it comes out. Something has happened to these people, and they don't know where to turn, so they find pleasure in mocking and ridicule something that people hold dear. So something's happened to them, and I'm trying to see them through Christ's eyes. I had a guy, I can't go through it right now, but I had a guy who, well, he's on the thread somewhere. There's a clip on here, Can You Be Moral Without God? If you want to go look it up on my Facebook, you can find the thread. His name is Frank Guyton, I think, Guyton. Anyways, atheist. But he would ask real questions, and they were sincere questions, and I would try to answer him with kindness. There was another two guys on that same thread who have a completely different approach to the way they approach me, and horribly insulting, horribly demeaning. And I've tried to say, hey, let's be kind, let's be civil, let's try. You told me you don't need morality, you don't need God to be moral. Prove it. Act moral. And they can't. All they have is the joy they get from harming others. In the process, they're saying it's my fault because Christianity has done terrible things. Talk about projecting. Talk about giving yourself a pass. But that's what they do. How's this coming, guys? Still here? Have a chance to go ahead and bid on this? So, what else did I want to talk about? Yes, I ended up in Louisiana. I do want to say thank you to Rob Seal, who was the guy that brought me in. Great church. We went out after Sunday, and we ate at a Cajun restaurant. Oh, Lord have mercy. Thank you, Jesus, for Cajuns. So I started with gumbo, poured on the hot. They can't get it hot enough for me. Can't get it spicy enough. They didn't have enough spice. Started with my gumbo. Then I ended up in 6 oysters on the half shell. Oh. Then I got crawfish, the spiced crawfish. Yes, I pulled the tail. Yes, I ate it. Yes, I sucked the head. And yes, it was delicious. Then I had some fried alligator, some fried duck. And what else did I have? Fried oyster. That was the only thing I didn't like. And a big old sausage. Oh, Lord have mercy. Thank you, Jesus, for Louisiana. Now, quick thing I need to tell you guys about. I'm going to be in Tampa. You want to know where I'm doing clubs? Tampa, Side Splitters, April 25th, 5 p.m. Sunday. you can come to this place. It's in April. You have plenty of time. I need you to do me a favor. If you are one of my awakened warriors, these are people who have claimed to be Christians but have not committed their life to Christ, have not sacrificed their life, have not wanted to do the hard things. For example, you don't support a child on Compassion International, who I support, and I need to send you a link so you can support a kid through my thing. So don't put that up if you're out there, Benjamin. I need to give you a link that attaches to me so they know that it came from me. Maybe you haven't visited prisoners. Maybe you haven't learned to love your enemies and pray for those who despitefully use you, or you haven't made it an effort to do that because we're commanded to. I'm talking about people who are ready and willing to die for Christ. That type of new resurgence, the Great Awakening, the first century church type Christian, is what is essential for the next phase of Christian in America. That's what's necessary. That's what I'm looking for. And part of that, for those who happen to like me, is when I come to these clubs and they are secular, I need you to go to your church and say, let's go buy 25, 30 tickets. Let's send our people. There will be liquor there. If you drink, have a drink. That's on you. If you don't. That's Christianity. Let's quit making it legalistic. Come on out. Let's support it. I'm trying to show the whole country that we can go into the nightclubs, and Christians and conservatives and patriots will show up and support free speech, support liberty, support conservative values, support the Constitution, support America, support our faith in a nightclub. And I'll do the work. I'll do the hard work. I'll get up there. I'll write the material. I'll take the hits. I'll get up here and have people hate me. I'll do all that stuff. That's my call. That's my cross. I need your support. You got to show up, man, and be there. You say you like me. Well, come on out. Plus, if you've never seen me live, for that matter, if you've never seen a comedian live, you got to see it live. It's a whole different experience. And if you've only seen my material through the videos, well, great. I'm glad you enjoy it. But see it live. It's a whole different thing. Just ask Karin. But anyways, I wanted to say I'm going to be there. Please keep bidding on this. Starts at $50. But it's going to be Tampa Side Splitters, April 25th. So let's sell the place out. Matter of fact, if we sell it out quick enough, we can probably add another show. Okay, so I talked to you guys about Awakened Warriors. So one of the things I was thinking about the other day, and by the way, I only have 20 minutes left. So if you're watching, there's only 20 minutes left, and I'll be gone. What was I getting at? Oh, here's one of the things that I believe God was talking to me about. Now, because when you say God's talking to you about it, it always seems like, why do I never hear God? Well, I don't hear him audibly. I don't know that I ever have heard him audibly. But there is a sense that if you deeply seek God, you pray to him, you're really looking to open yourself up to him, that there's a sense something's there giving you some direction, giving you some thoughts, giving you some motivation that says, this is me. So one of the things that I was thinking about when it came to where we are at in America right now is not only the idea that conservatives and Christians are being pushed out and being censored, and that's certainly true, but I've talked to you guys about the mask mandate from the get-go. As you know, if you follow me, I don't wear them, and except on the plane, because if I don't, I can't get on the plane. If I can't get on the plane, I can't work. So it literally just destroys my ability to work. Now, God is maybe going to help defend and protect me in that regard by Patreon members. If you would like to support my ministry, I've got a Patreon page out, and it's growing. And as it grows, I'm going to have stuff I can send you, mugs and different things, and we're going to grow it together, and you will see this happen. And two things I've learned in the last couple of days. When I first came to you guys and said, hey, do you want to help support my building of my little studio, basically just bumping out this room so it's effective and I can use it in the winter and the summer, I thought that was what I was building. That's why I have a camera. That's why I have this donated computer, and I bought these lights and this mic through donations that you guys given me, so this can grow and you see it become better as you participate. The body working in unison. But I thought that was kind of what I was being given donations for, was building my podcast. That's how I've always worded, help this podcast grow from a laptop on my lap, literally in my office a year ago on Facebook Live, just giving it a shot and saying, I wonder if anybody's interested in what I have to say. That has become a podcast that is going to grow into more. But I've learned something, you guys, and it's that I don't believe anymore that if you give a Patreon or if you want to give just to my ministry, you can choose either one. You say it on this thing, hey, I want to give to your ministry in general. That's a link. Or I want to give you your Patreon, which is building this podcast, and Stine Has Issues. That's another one. You tell me which one you want to, we'll send you the link and you can give. It's only $5, $10, and $50 for Patreon, depending on what category you want to be and what you want to get for it. The ministry, I've got people giving me $300 a month. I've only got a handful because obviously that's a big hunk of money. Right, Greg Kuntz? He's my cousin out there. He was the first guy that decided he would do that, and I appreciate it so much. But there's some others that do it, and I'm going to probably next week, I want to make sure I say thanks to all you people that have donated so far in 21. But I've realized that this isn't just building my studio anymore. You're building my ministry. That's what I didn't understand. Because when I go out to these comedy clubs, I don't make the same amount of money that I make if I'm in a church or if I'm in a place where it's just me doing that, because there's marketing that money has to come out, money that has to come out for hotels, for cars, for airplanes, for people taking a percentage. The club takes a piece. So it just gets whittled down. So it's not really profitable for me, but I feel like it's a mission. Well, people that give to it, just like a missionary, because I'm a missionary to America. I've told you that a long time ago. They're giving so that somebody is in a dark place speaking God's truth and speaking historical Americana tradition to a dark place, which is a nightclub, right? So you're building an entire ministry. And I don't know how many of you have ever watched a guy sit in his little den by himself on his chair with his little laptop and just say, hey guys, anybody out there? And literally watch that guy by himself who didn't really have any aspirations for a podcast, literally watch it become a podcast, which becomes a touring live show, which becomes a ministry. That my hope is to have a ministry that touches this nation to see a great awakening. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. It's going to happen, but live events that are beyond just doing a comedy club or just even beyond just doing a show at a church. But it's some bigger live thing that's going to seek the God Spirit to energize Christians to become Christ followers. That's what I think my calling is, to change the structure, the flavor of American Christianity that has gone too long, weak, cowardly, close-minded, fearful, taking freedom for granted, who believed that all you had to do was say, Jesus, come into my heart, and that's all. I'm done. I'm good. That nonsense is done, saith the Lord. He's weeding out the weak. He's weeding out those who pose. He's weeding out those who talk about a good game but don't live it. He's weeding out people that say they're saved but don't show any fruit. They're being weeded out. So we can start afresh with people who are committed. And those who are like what I do, committed to my ministry, you'll show up when I come to a nightclub. You'll help me build people who to come to these churches so I can talk about it. Why? For my gain? No. For me to build a ministry that reaches people in a way that you can't, but you get the same reward because we're doing it as a body. That's what I'm looking for. So you're building a ministry, and I didn't even realize it. I thought it was my podcast. It's a whole thing. The podcast is a arm of that ministry. And soon, when I get this thing locked in, when this room is heat and air is in, it's insulated, when it's functional, the next thing I probably will spend your donations on is a way to have guests. Now, I don't know if it'd be better to get another mic and another camera so we can cross it and have the guests. I want to have people live. I'm not afraid to have people here without a mask, and I wouldn't wear a mask. And if somebody wore a mask in here, I would, I'd throw them through the rack back there. But if I know folks that live in other parts of the state and around the world, so maybe it'd be fun to bring them on, virtually, and I can do that, but I need to get some software and stuff. So I'll probably do it. So wherever you give, once we get this built up, it's not going to end. We're just going to add another camera. We're going to have the ability to have guests, and eventually it'll turn into something. And then once all that's in place, guess what? Now I'll be looking for somebody that can maybe run the show, whether it's here in my home, produce it or do it virtually because there's ways to do that. And then I'll be bringing in writers so I can make this more elaborate or do some research or whatever. That's what you're building a television show from scratch. And a ministry from scratch. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I've never done that to somebody else. I happen to be the guy doing it. And you get to participate. But here's the other thing that I was thinking about. You know, if I came to you and said, do you appreciate your freedom in America? Most people would say yes. You know, absolutely. Do you love your liberty? Yes, they would say. Do you love and do you want to pass on to your children, your grandchildren, what you had, which was the freedom of speech, not being cast aside, not being destroyed by leftist Marxist cancer? Do you want to pass that? Yes, I do. And then somebody might say, are you willing to die for that? Would you go to battle for that? And most Americans, I believe, would say yes, I would. And we would be drawing from our history of the Revolutionary War, our history of the Civil War, our history of World War I, our history of World War II, our history of the war on terror, right? We have places where we as a corporate body of Americans put ourselves in a position that liberty and freedom was so crucial to us, so sacrosanct, that we were willing to die for it. And it's a beautiful, courageous, wonderful, noble commitment and adventure. But it occurred to me, the corona crisis, which is real, the coronavirus is real. People that get it can die. Most don't. It's a 0.2%, I think, death rate, so very minuscule. But if one guy dies and it happens to be my grandparent, it hurts. Or my loved one, it hurts. So I'm not diminishing it at all. Some people will end up in the hospital on a respirator and may not make it, and they'll be touch and go. And that would be terrible, and I'd hate to see my loved one like that. And it might be a residual thing that hangs on for a while. Not diminishing it. It's happened to people. They're out there. Sorry for that. Terrible. But for the most part, 99.9% of the people that get this, well, I've told you this before, most people will never get it in the world. Second group will be get it and never know they had it. Third group will get it. It'll be like a flu. That was me. And it'll go away. The fourth group will get it and it will be hard and they'll end up in the hospital. And the last group will be, unfortunate, the ones that die. Okay. So here's what I realized was a real idea for you to ponder. Especially if you believe in freedom and liberty and said, yeah, I'd be willing to fight against that, against totalitarianism that would try to destroy us, or we were invaded by, some army or whatever. Yeah, I join forces. If you're willing to say that. But let's say you're a real strict mask wearer. You don't believe the data that states the masks don't do any good. You don't care about the data that states that the open states and the closed states don't have any real differentiation whatsoever. So you might as well open so you can be free and you can eat and you can go enjoy communion again and take back the country because you're the government. If you are we the people, you can do those things, right? You might as well, right? So it occurred to me. The people that wear the mask and demand the mask wearing, who've bought into what I believe is skewed data, okay? That's my right to believe based on what I can see. What they're saying is, I don't want to get infected. I don't want to maybe, suffer. I don't want you to suffer. Maybe they're even that good of a person. I don't want you to get it either. So I'm willing to give up my liberties, wear this thing no matter where even though there's no end to it, until it becomes so commonplace that anything the government tells me to do, I'll simply do it without asking again. And this is what I realize, my friends. You probably, if you get this virus, by far will not die from it. Some will. Most won't. You might be out there right now and you know somebody that's died from it. So I'm not diminishing it. Please hear me. But if you said, I'm not doing this, we have to end this, take back control of our lives and our businesses and our homes, and ability to make our own way, to take our own risks. Here's what you're saying when you remove the mask. I'm willing to die for freedom. The same thing that you would say you'd be willing to do if it meant taking up arms against people who are shooting at us and shooting at your family and you're shooting back. I'm saying to you, this is the same category. Aren't you willing to die for a virus that it might harm you? Probably won't. For freedom. It's the same battle. It's just a virus instead of a bullet. And if you said, I'm not willing to take that risk, you're trading your liberty for your supposed health. Problem is, you're trading my liberty too because you become part of the mob. And lastly, if you're not willing to die potentially from a virus, you would not and will not pick up arms if we're invaded because you've shown liberty doesn't mean that much to you. That's a hard truth, isn't it? It's a hard truth. So I just wanted you to think about that and ponder that this week. I wanted to know who's out there still in America that's willing to pay whatever price is necessary. Who are you going to allow to define you? A government bureaucrat? Are you going to allow a governor to define you? A governor who locked you down and said you have to wear this and you can't go with your family and you can't associate with them and you can't open your business and you can't make your house payment? Are you willing to sacrifice to their whims even though they never, ever missed one paycheck? Every single Fauci and governor that have made these decrees for the sake of you being a good citizen and a good man and a good woman and a good moral American, every one of them that tried to promote that sacrifice so you can be part of the collective and be good American, every one of them, not one of them ever missed a paycheck. And they never will, because if they would have, they wouldn't have made these edicts. We know it's true because when they go out in public, they don't wear them. All right. So here's the thing, guys. I'm running out of time. I got 4 minutes left. I haven't looked, so I don't know if anyone has even bid on this shirt. If you haven't, that's fine. I'll put it up for auction. Maybe I'll shove it on my back table here and somebody can buy it another time. I don't know. So if you have a church that would like to have me come in and do humor, but really talk about the idea of freedom and liberty in Christ and in America, please contact me. Do not tell me, oh, you should go to so-and-so church in Minneapolis. It doesn't work like that. You have to actually know the pastor, ask him if he's interested in exploring it, message me with his contact. I'll contact him. We can make it happen. But don't just give me a name of a church. And I appreciate that you're thinking of me. Don't work like that. I need you to actually say, here's Pastor so-and-so's. He said he would like to hear from you. He's interested. Do you want something that reinvigorates your church to be true believers and to recommit and never again return to the old American Christianity that expected nothing, demanded nothing? That's dead. It's killing us. It's destroying us. And it isn't Christianity. So there's too much at stake. If you want and believe in what I'm doing, what I'm saying, you want to see what I'm talking about tonight to become bigger, be a Patreon member. I need your help. The more that people join and bring in a consistent amount of income, the more that I can, because I have to buy ads to let people know I'm doing this. So that's how it works. So again, it's not to enrich me. I'm not going to go buy another house. I'm not going to buy a boat. I just want to see this ministry reach the most amount of people it can, and that's how it's going to work. So that's really where we are right now. If you donate for the shirt, then I will send you this as a gift. That goes into my ministry so that I can give to this thing. And it is a 501c3, so it is a tax write-off. We're in tax season now, so it's like a little too late, but it can be good for next year. And As I said, I'll be in Tampa April 25th. In May, the end of May, I'll be doing Front Sight. If you want to come out with me and train in handgun training for those who have a CCP or those who want to get one, I'm looking for 10 couples. I got one guy coming so far. And I would love to get at least 9 more. I mean, I'll take 20, but at least 10 would be great. It's in Pahrump, Nevada, so you have to fly to Vegas. You go up there, you spend 3 days, 4 days, depending on how much you want to be, and that will be part of what we're doing. If you're interested in that, say so. We'll send you the link. If you're interested in giving to my ministry so we can grow into something beyond anything you can imagine, or that I could imagine, because that's how God works, tell me you're interested in giving, and I'll send you my link to my ministry. If you want to give to this podcast and to the Stine Has Issues, say so. Say, I want to give $5 a month, $10 a month, $50 a month. I'll send you the Patreon link, and you can have that. So this is where we're at. This is what I'm doing. If you're a first-time visitor, thank you for showing. I hope you enjoy what I stand for. God first, country second, the Christian values of who this nation was, and unapologetically believing in freedom, liberty, and free speech. That's who I am. That's what I'm trying to build. It's going to get better and better. It's going to get more effective until I'm shut down. If I get shot down, I don't know. But this is the commitment I've made. This is the commitment I gave to my family. I love you. I hope I make it to be an old man and watch my grandkids or whatever. But if I die, I've decided I'm going to die PC free. I'm going to die fighting for freedom and liberty. I'm going to die defending justice against injustice. And I'm going to die a warrior. I'm looking for awakened warriors that are ready to jump in and join me. I'll be here next week, God willing. And I want to say thank you for showing up. Invite, share, send this around. Let's see if we can start getting 200, 300, 400 people show up. Let's see what God has in store. Can't do it without you. God bless you. Love you guys. I really do. I'm humbled you would take time every Monday and listen to me. Have any questions? Even any comments you think might be helpful in the future? Let me know. I'll see you guys next week. Meanwhile,